It's brought to us by Mazda, who moves the game forward just like I moved that topic forward in less than 60 seconds, because it's about those who believe in more than just playing the game. They want to redefine it, because those moments do more than win. They push what's possible, reminding us to go that extra yard, shift into that extra gear, and keep the game moving forward. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to every Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Yesterday we had Mary Kay Cabot on the show, and she said something interesting I wanted to dive into a little deeper today. Mary Kay suggested that part of the reason Joe Flacco may be struggling early on in the season is he did not get enough reps with his receivers in training camp. If you guys remember, there was that four-way quarterback battle in camp where they were trying to figure out, will Flacco start, will Pickett start, Gabriel, Shador, how do we fit all those reps in? Tyvis and G, you guys were here yesterday, so I want to start this off with Jay. But Jay, do you believe that the four-way quarterback battle hindered Flacco's ability to be ready to get out the gate hot and start the season like we saw him end the 2023 season?
No, not at all. It had nothing to do with it. He had plenty of reps. He had more runway into the 2025 season than he did 2023. 2023 on Wednesday, he's on the couch, and on Thursday, he's in Browns camp. Like, he's a veteran. I understand the timing with the receivers and getting to know all of that, but Njoku was here then. So he should already have, I think he does have a great relationship with Njoku. Would it have helped Joe Flacco to get the majority of the reps? Well, of course. It's a silly question. He's the starting quarterback. And ideally, you want to get him as much look as you can to get him ready. But I also understand what the Browns were trying to do. They were trying to evaluate 3 other quarterbacks. That piece of evidence right there goes to show you, if you haven't already made up the decision, the Browns are not serious about winning in 2025. Period, full stop. That's not what 2025 is about. Jason's been telling us that for a year. Because I hate to lose, I don't want to hear that kind of talk, but that is the sad reality of where we are. This is an exploratory season. G called one of the seasons a gentleman's punt. This is nothing more than an exploratory season to figure out whether or not they have to go into the draft next year looking for their franchise quarterback. I think they probably already know the answer to that, but they're going to figure it out over the course of 2025. But I don't think I'm not going to let Joe Flacco off the hook that easily and say, well, if he would have had all the reps, he would have been that guy. He may have been better, and they didn't do him any justice by giving him limited reps, but it is what it is.
So that's setting him up to fail.
I wouldn't go so far as to say it's setting him up to fail. I think they didn't take every measure they could to ensure his success. Trust me, in these meetings, at no point did anybody say, let's set this cat up to fail. We'll give him limited reps.
No, I think when you look at the quarterback battle, the reason that they did what they did is because they figured Joe Flacco's been in this system. He's the only quarterback here that's been here that's had a somewhat chemistry with guys. But roll that clip again of Joe Flacco in practice. I'm going to tell you what you need to point out. This is how I know that he's set up to fail. Because when you look at this clip, name me one starting wide receiver that he's throwing to in this video. He had no chemistry with nobody.
In fairness, that's not the only video.
But this has been the problem with the whole thing. Like, all camp, how many times we've been trying to evaluate the Kennys, the Dillons, and all of them. And they was like, well, he's throwing to a dude who's wearing like 37. And I'm like, who is this receiver? Who is these guys?
Right. But
so at what point in time did they ever get chemistry down for them to go from throwing that to you thought it was going to go to the game and they just was automatically just going to have chemistry?
There is a finite number of passes he threw to starters in camp. I don't know what that number is, but I can assure you it's more than 0.
I'm just looking at these clips.
Yeah,
I'm just looking at clips.
Right.
And I see 37, 31, 87.
So what you're doing is you're making a G. Bush knee-jerk reaction off of 25 seconds of video.
I texted you last week that I'm about ready to take the title.
I'm
ready to take
second
the
in line.
This is ridiculous.
How many knee surgeries have you had?
Multiple.
0, but I'm about to have.
I've had 7, so I am the knee jerk. I'm second in line. If he ever hands it off.
So let's go ahead and give you this. So technically, this is incorrect. because there's a thing that was a controversy over the offseason. It was called the quarterback tracker. And we were intimately introduced to the quarterback tracker. Now, McNuggets, I do believe that the final quarterback tracker, it was out and put out when it came to throws and et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'll just give you one that I just saw. This is through 9 practices in quarterback training camp. Flacco threw 54-92. Dillon Gabriel received 113 reps, right? Shedeur Sanders got 70 reps. And Kenny Pickett, at that point in time, through 9 practices, had 34. But if you go back to the
Hadn't he already been hurt?
He had already been hurt.
Yeah.
Prior to that, Pickett had got the most reps out of anybody.
Yeah, he had.
Dillon Gabriel got the second most reps out of anybody. Then it was Flacco, then it was Shedeur Sanders.
Now, what does that tell you? It tells you they were trying to see what they had.
Yeah.
Well, listen, the Cleveland Browns are 16th, 17th century explorers. Sir Francis Drake's, Magellan, Juan Ponce de Leon, Cortez, Coronado, all those people were looking for what? Mythical places, right? Let me find this little shortcut to Northwest Passage.
Some of them didn't know what they were looking for. They
Some
were just looking.
Some of them was looking for the 7 cities of gold and the Fountain of Youth. Guess
is-
what? None of those existed.
Wait,
And
Ponce de Leon didn't find the Fountain of Youth?
no, he didn't. and the Cleveland Browns never found their quarterback. 4 quarterbacks, nobody got better. They gave all the reps to Pickett and then jettisoned him. Get him out of here. So you wasted them reps, Tyler.
He about to start. He about to
Gee,
start in
can I
Vegas
bring up a point,
soon.
though, in fairness to Pickett, Pickett was in line to be the starter of this team. Everything they were doing led us to believe that he was going to be the starter.
Yeah.
When he got hurt, he
ask-
can't be the starter now.
Well, let me ask
Bye-bye.
You this. Let me ask you this. Though,
So he's
Jay.
gone.
If you like somebody so much, right? If you like somebody and you want to go on a date with them and you've been trying to go on a date with them for years, if they get sick and have to reschedule on the first date, does that mean you like, I ain't calling you no more?
What kind of sickness is
No.
it?
No. Yeah, right.
That is true.
If it begins with an S and ends with a D, I ain't calling.
But you gonna reschedule that
Well
date.
played, Jay.
Then you gonna reschedule that date. If Kenny Pickett was so in them, they loved him. We heard what he was talking about. You would have waited on him.
Gee, can I
His
give you a
hamstring
scenario?
was hurt.
Here's the scenario. I think they brought him in thinking he was going to be that guy.
And he wasn't.
I think they saw that he was not going to be that guy, and then he got hurt.
There it is.
So boom, bye-bye.
So now
We're down to 3.
Now we're down to 3, but those reps are in the air. Now, you had Dillon Gabriel. Here's my thing with Dillon Gabriel and why the quarterback competition was all fake news. It was fraudulent. If Dillon Gabriel is yours, shout out to Adam the Bull, he said this yesterday. If Dillon Gabriel is your backup quarterback, that means you have enough confidence in your backup quarterback that if anything happens, you should go in right now and be successful. That's the definition of backup quarterback, is it not, Tyvis?
Sure.
Yes.
So if they don't have confidence to put him in the game, that means he should not be the backup quarterback. Is that true?
That's fair.
There it is. Let's continue down the line.
Actually, they might have confidence that he will lose games, which ultimately serves their bigger picture.
Okay, that's a whole nother track because I don't like that maneuver anyway.
I hated it. You know I hate it.
So then you get to Shedeur Sanders. They said it was a quarterback competition. All they did is move jerseys and give you a little bit of sliver of hope. They good at that. So in one track, they're telling you, look at this quarterback competition. Come on out here and see what we doing. We might have us a franchise guy. Everybody got a shot. Everybody equal. But at the same time, they sitting here saying, ain't no quarterback competition. We just need these guys to stay off the trail hot enough so that we can lose these games in on all fairness, and then get to next year
These
without
are the
them noticing.
same people that told you with a straight face that Deshaun Watson gave us the best chance to win.
They sure did.
Young Buck, let me tell you your sin. Your sin is believing the trash that falls out of their mouth.
Oh, no. I didn't believe that.
Why you're saying they
No.
told us there was
No.
going to be a
So
competition. There was no competition.
Do you not understand? First of all, we got
There was no competition, guys,
listen
ever.
here, you got to understand. This is a business.
Sure.
Okay? I come in here. And
They're professional liars,
So let
guys.
me ask you this. We come in there, and you Jimmy, and you with Kevin and AB, and they say, Jimmy, we not going to be good this year.
Sure.
But you know, like, this is a business. I gotta
Got to sell
money.
tickets.
Who gonna sell some tickets for you? Well, Joe Flacco. Everybody loved Joe.
Yeah, who else?
Shador Sanders is going to definitely get us national attention.
Which is why they let everybody believe that he might have a
There
chance.
it is.
That's what I'm telling you. Yeah.
But my point to you guys is that was never their intention.
But I told you, in all fairness, I was listen. When they kept saying that, and I said, no, I'm going to Cam. I got to see this. Let me see. I need to see. You keep telling me what's going. I pulled up, looked around.
I was right there with you.
He was with me. Matter of fact, it was a pilgrimage.
It was
McNuggets went.
Earl was there.
Earl went. Tyvus was there. Zach Jackson was there.
Did you think it was real?
Jason Lloyd. When I got there and seen them throwing the trash cans, I said, "Oh, this ain't no competition."
Okay, you're a smart man.
So I said, "Oh, they got y'all. They got us. Y'all don't even need to get upset. Don't even listen. It's not a competition."
It was never.
Then all I knew when he played the first game and he still was third string, I said, "Oh,
No. He didn't get no reps.
yes, he did get
I
reps."
said,
after.
I
said, "This is wild."
Smart man.
Wow.
So
Smart man.
the question and the thesis as we bring this all back, right? The Browns didn't do anybody a service, right? Pickens is not on the roster. Shador Sanders didn't get any reps. We never see him play with any first-team people, and he's still third string. Dillon Gabriel is the backup quarterback, but you keep telling us that you can't put him in because he's not what? Prepared. And Joe Flacco, even though he said it in Adidas, he said it. He said it with Adidas. I watch everything. He said when he was sitting at the kitchen table eating Chinese food, they sat there. I was like, dang, Joe, that looked like some dry Chinese, but that's neither here nor there.
They were chicken fingers, not Chinese food.
That's him hitting the
Chicken
alarm.
fingers could be prepared as Chinese food.
But Joe said point blank, period. I know what the narrative is around situations about how the narrative is I'm old, I'm in the system, I don't need to know anything. He said, man, I want the reps. I want the work. I want to get on the same page with my guys, right? Mm-hmm. So I want that to happen. And it didn't. He played 1 week. So now he get out here and it's the timing, guys is falling down. Mary Kay said the guys is falling. They're looking bad. And guess what? If you Joe, you have to say, if I would have got some rust knocked off, or maybe we would be at a point where the offense don't look like it's paint dry. Now, is that half of it? Yes. But at the same time, he is older. His skills have diminished. His movement is diminished. But I can't help but believe that them reps would have helped him a little bit.
The reps definitely would have helped him.
Who's gotten every rep in the last 3 weeks of practice?
Flacco.
Okay.
But
let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is that alarm. It's
crazy, and I don't even know. I don't even.
Gee, that was incredible that you didn't even acknowledge it during that whole monologue. That was very, very impressive.
Focus.
If anyone hears a buzzing, there's a car alarm going off in the parking garage right next to us.
And then I'm paranoid because I'm thinking it's
I thought it was
mine. EP Steve, will you go check and see what kind of car it is to make sure it's not one of ours, in all seriousness?
And most of them stop beeping after a minute.
He said the problem is.
I will tell you what the problem is. It's not that car alarm. The problem, guys, is a former Buckeye.
Oh, don't do that.
The largest former Buckeye you've ever seen.
Oh my gosh.
DeJuan Jones.
Okay.
And now listen,
Okay.
I want your response to this.
All right, go ahead.
Both of you.
All right.
I have been watching NFL football my entire life. Mm-hmm. I cannot remember a time, and I'd said on Monday's show I didn't watch the game live on a big screen. I was watching it on my phone from the Guardians game.
So you couldn't tell he wasn't out there.
I went back and I watched. Guys, he is the worst offensive lineman I have ever seen.
Dang.
I know.
DeWand?
Yeah.
Like Jedrick Wills is better.
Yep.
That's tough.
You were the highest of anyone on DeWand coming into the season.
I was high as a kite.
Wow.
That's the problem. Couldn't see straight.
Jed.
So you would take Jed over DeWand?
I would. And now you guys know that PFF is dead to me. You know that. And I don't usually use PFF numbers. Listen to this.
He knew he was on here. He came
out of his mind.
He came on
here. Guys.
What you got?
Did you see the text from Jason this morning
about the PFF?
About the PFF grades?
He had like 33 or something like that.
Bro.
34.
And by the way, I had made that assessment yesterday after I finished watching the amount of tape I could watch on him.
What about
At some point, I couldn't see anymore. I'm like, I've seen enough. It looks like the same
Are
on
you
every
sure
play.
that it was him? Because, it was a
Listen,
rotation thing.
I will not. It was him when he was in the game and his numbers. Yes. Now, I will not sit here and try to tell you that I understand offensive line blocking schemes. I don't. But there are certain plays where you know what the responsibility is.
Yeah.
And guys, and I want your honest reaction to that.
I gotta watch it now.
Please go back and watch it.
Pay attention to
What
it.
was I have too many texts and I can't find the one from Jason this morning.
So
what was? Does anybody remember what the number was that Jason sent out this morning?
PFF?
Oh, here it is. I found it.
33.4 overall grade through 2 weeks, a 43 pass blocking grade, and a 37.4 run blocking grade.
Guys,
his ranks on the season with those grades, out of 94 qualified tackles, he ranks 90th.
Okay.
In run blocking, out of 94 qualified tackles, he is 93rd.
Okay.
And pass blocking, he is 74th out of 94.
Okay.
So
respond to that.
Okay, I'm gonna respond to that because
God.
I'm gonna respond to that because I've now watched the All 22 twice,
And you've seen it too.
and the thing that's devastating is because he just has no power. He's not able to bend. He's not able. He looks stiff. He does not generate any power from his lower half. He does a lot of leaning. He looks gassed a lot
slow.
of time. He's very slow. And to be honest with you, I would put him at guard, but I couldn't put you at guard.
He's too big.
But you not. He's not. He's
not agile enough.
He's not. He doesn't have enough. You got to be low center of gravity firing off the ball. I watched the Cleveland Browns, and you brought up something about the assignments. A lot of what they do is basic double team the guy over you, and you two are responsible for that lineman in front of you. You double teaming to the backside linebacker. The Cleveland Browns are the worst team I've ever seen in my life at even attempting to get to the outside backside backer. Roquan Smith made first team All Maryland.
Wait, G, I got a question about that. I'm glad you mentioned Roquan Smith. And Tyvis, please chime in as you guys know more about how the inner workings of this work than I do. It seemed like Roquan Smith was calling out the Browns' plays before they ran them. He knew where to be better than the offensive line knew where to be.
That's Roquan Smith, though.
Yeah, but I go back to the game against Houston, and do you remember that clip from D'Amico Ryans talking to the linebacker who basically said, we know Joe's going to run this play, be there? Yep. The fact that Roquan Smith was in the backfield basically before an offensive lineman could touch him on multiple occasions. And if you go back and watch the All-22, he was running routes with the receivers.
He was.
They knew exactly what was coming. Does that fall
Watch tape.
more on Stefanski? Is that a credit to the Ravens for
Both.
elite scouting?
Yeah,
Both.
I agree with Ty, both.
Because as a play caller, you should know your tendencies, and you got to switch up your tendencies. Like that was G's point about the concepts yesterday. They running basic concepts. All right, so that's just like, for example, if somebody ran, I don't know, let's call it a dagger, right? Let's say they.
I hate to get gracious.
What?
Go ahead, man. So it's Madden. It's the Madden Ask Madden playbook where you don't know. You just hit the square button. They tell you what play to run. Go ahead, man.
Okay, let me switch it up, dude. Let's say we're running a drive concept, right? A drive concept is when you got two wide receivers that's in a bunch. One does a drag, the other one runs a dig, right? So, like, let's say you've been running that for 3 games. So, if I'm going up against you and I've been watching tape, I say, oh, they stack. Okay, they probably going to run this drive concept. The way you could change that, instead of having the dude run a dig, have him run a corner route. So, like, the guy's going to be like, I'm anticipating that he's going to hit this dig route. Then he hit a corner. Now he's wide open. Right.
Wide open.
Like, you got to switch up certain concepts. It's like little minor changes like that that makes the defense have to play you honest. So that way, if he's playing you honest, now you got both ways that you can run it. You can run the regular drive or you can run a drive 7 concept. Like, it's little simple things like that. But, like, if you putting on tape that I'm just going to run this drive concept, what would you expect me to do?
I agree with all that. But you thought my comment on DeJuan was egregious and out of line.
I didn't say it.
Based on your reaction, that's what
it's wow.
So where am I? And I like DeJuan. I want DeJuan to do well. I really do. I think he's a terrific kid. I think he worked hard in the offseason. But to G's point, it's like I'm watching a boy perform with a man's body. Like, imagine if you saw Walter Jones come out there and sort of come up very slowly and move heavy and slow. You're like, oh my God, there is so much potential to that physical being. The wideness, the size.
You talking about Seattle's Walter Jones?
Yes.
The All-Pro, the Hall of Fame guy?
Yeah, what I'm saying is when you look at him, you're like, oh, I can't wait to see this guy move.
Yeah.
Because he's so big, you're like, if he has any foot skills and speed at all, he's unstoppable.
I think
and that's what I look when I see DeJuan Jones, I say the same thing.
I think DeJuan's problem is consistency. I think there's games where he's had a game where you're like, oh, like for example, he went up against T.J. Watt last year, and then he had to go, and it was like nobody heard from T.J. Watt. He had a great game, but then he got games like what we've been seeing. And I think the problem is the reason why you don't want to get off of him is because it's like, dude, we know you can do it. Like why aren't you doing it?
It's not a lack of talent.
It can't be lack of talent. He's done it already.
Then it's lack of effort.
I don't know.
Man. I don't know.
If you keep running this,
but like
keep running these plays right
he's
here.
had games where he's looked good.
Number 61, who I don't know,
listen,
blows by him like he's not there.
He got beat twice by another offensive lineman. 61 is going to get. This is 61 going to get. He's an offensive line. Watch how he get beat on this. He don't move his feet. He bend at his waist. Watch this. This is even in the clips. You're bending there a little bit. You got to see.
I'm about to say he was
watch this.
Watch this. This is the one. Watch this play. Watch.
You're beat. What are you doing? Do your knees hurt? Your feet hurt? You walking around like your feet hurt.
Now y'all know it's not fair because we don't know what the drill is and what they work.
The drill ain't getting beat.
We don't know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, let me practice Olay so this guy can get to my
Let's see how fast 61 can get around the corner.
That's not fair. That's okay, but when I just said Joe Flacco was throwing to the dang practice squad guy. That's different.
Let me ask you this. What drill could possibly exist that consists of the offensive lineman getting beat with an Olay move?
He might be working on his get off.
Well, it's got a lot of work. He's got a lot of work.
Maybe that was a bad rep. Maybe he had to go line back up and do it again.
The Browns are in trouble.
We don't know what it was.
They are.
Okay.
They're in absolute trouble.
I'll just say
Is that not fair?
I'll say this.
I'm not making excuses for it, but I'm saying, like, we don't know what the heck he was working on.
In my amateur opinion, after watching 2 football games and trying to pinpoint
it's really 1.5
what is the epicenter of the problem.
He was in and
I know
out,
he was,
so
but
like,
I'm talking about the whole team.
Oh, okay.
In my amateur opinion, after watching 2 football games, my conclusion is the epicenter of what's wrong with the Cleveland Browns offense is up front, and the epicenter of that is number 79.
Well,
I'm not saying he's the only problem.
Well, Sean said that's a weak excuse.
Okay, it's a weak excuse.
I don't agree with
that. Guys, it's
an observation.
Just tell you
I'm not saying the Browns
tell me
stink
what he said.
because their offensive line is bad, and that's okay. My observation is Joe Flacco has absolutely made some mistakes.
Oh
no.
That
Absolutely
interception
made
he
some
thought
mistakes.
was egregious.
Oh, no.
The touchdown he threw should have been an interception.
That's a pick.
Should have been an interception.
Yeah, Joe.
All of that being said, the problem with Joe Flacco is it's 1, 2, 3, you got to get it out or you're going to be hit. He has no time to throw the football.
What Sean was saying, name a quarterback in the league that just sits back there and just pats the ball.
Well, the problem is Joe is immobile. So when Baker was under constant pressure the other night. Constant pressure.
Your guy.
My guy. But he has some ability to move the pocket.
Yeah,
Joe
Flacco's
has
a statue.
zero ability to move the pocket.
So my question is, does he really give you the best chance to win, and why is he still playing?
I don't believe I said this Monday. It's time to see Dillon Gabriel. And I never thought I would be there at week 3.
I need to see one more game.
Okay, that's fair.
One more.
That's fair.
He's had a good game and a bad game. Okay. This next one, that's the one.
All right.
That's very fair.
Then on top of that, it takes offenses a little bit to.
Okay.
That's true. The offense is always
so.
going
This
behind
is
the
week
defense.
3. It is what it is.
Now the only problem is
they're going up against one of the best defenses in the league.
good luck.
Well,
Now,
Kevin is this great. He's this great play caller. He's what?
Right. No, you're right. You're right. But I was thinking this morning, as I often do.
He said that like he woke up in a coma, as I often wake up with thoughts.
No, what I was thinking, I was okay. I am Kevin Stefanski this week. I was going to grow a beard so I could really play the part out, but I don't have time. So what I decided was, how am I going to attack Green Bay? And here's what I came up with, guys. Micah Parsons, the last thing you want to do is drop Joe back 45 times. Not with Micah Parsons.
Guess what we gonna do?
We'll see Dillon Gabriel in the third quarter if he drops back 23 times in the first half.
That's exactly what's gonna happen.
No,
I say he's
do.
legitimately
Here's what
playing
we're
in the
going to
fourth
do.
quarter.
We're going to give the ball to the other Buckeye, the man-child, number 10.
Well, Jay, that's our next topic.
Quinshon. I know we are. That's
Perfect.
I'm ready to go.
Let me do a read and we can dive into it.
Quinshon Judkins. Listen. Hey, what did you think of that stiff arm of Marlon Humphrey?
Hey, McNuggets, you're not getting this in. You just
We can talk Quinshon, but let's make sure we get paid before we do that.
You know what? Unfortunately, I can't hear a word you're saying because this is bad.
he said,
Well, just know I got to do a read
go.
and then I'll toss it back to you for some
Okay,
Quinshon
okay,
stuff.
but let me set it up just real quick.
you already did.
No. What I'm going to say is, hey, do we have another one of these?
Yeah, Ant's bringing it out right now.
I already set it up.
No. Yeah, it's a perfect segue. What we're going to do on Sunday, and I hope he's in game shape,
Can we save it for the next?
he's going to get 25 carries, and now Mike can do his read.
All right, guys, this Quinshon Judkins topic is